Evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. I'd like to call our regular meeting of our Town Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025 at 6:33 p.m. My name is Robert Klee. I'm the chair of our Woodbridge Town Plan and Zoning Commission. Other members of the commission who are here with us tonight include Paul Schatz, Kathleen Hunter, Ben Cherry, Jeff Kennedy, Aaron Hoffman. We may be joined by Andrew. We might. He's a maybe. I do want to note for the record that former Vice Chair Yoni Zamir has formally submitted his resignation from our TPZ to the town clerk. Yoni, it's for good news. Yoni has been nominated to be a Connecticut Superior Court judge. That's our trial judge here in Connecticut, and has been voted out of the Judiciary Committee and is on his way to confirmation, which could happen almost at any time. So in light of those circumstances, that meant he unfortunately had to step down from his role on the TPZ. So it's bittersweet. I know many of you have served with Yoni for he was on this commission for the last 7 years, since 2018. But I'm actually excited that he gets to continue his public service in a new and impactful way as a trial judge in our state court system. As always, Chris Sullivan, thank you for your support. You are our town land use analyst and zoning enforcement officer. Nice to see all of you on the commission. Nice to see you members of the public. Tonight's agenda has been available on the town website, though I think we're going to make a amendment to the agenda at some point soon. I also note that the originally scheduled public hearing on the 804 Fountain Street application was canceled because that application has been withdrawn. So today on our agenda, we have new business, including receiving an 8-24 referral to create a, quote, heavy use area at Massaro Farm. So I look forward to hearing about what that is. We also are receiving an application for a special exception for use of an adult daycare center at 67 Pease Road. We also received a request from Stephen Mason to amend our opportunity housing zoning regulations. And then finally, we're receiving a request from Baldwin Development for site development and a special permit for excavation, removal, filling, and grading at two, I think they're adjacent properties, 20 Lunar Drive and 23 Lunar Drive. And in our work session, we're going to have it. We actually will not have our discussion with Derek Zaskowitz today. He has a personal family matter and could not be with us today. And then we'll have additional work in our work session. Now, Chris, is there an amendment to add something first?
Yes, we need to add to your evening's agenda. Just lost my voice. The Green Sky Solar for the Acorn Hill site.
Right, sorry, Chris. I'll take over for you if you need. So there will be an 8-24 referral, which I believe our commission members got by email for Green Skies LLC's solar array at Acorn Hill Road, which is our landfill. I will note for the record that I have to recuse myself from any and all matters involving Green Skies LLC because outside of here and outside of Yale, I do business in, around, and sometimes with Green Skies. So, Chris, someone else has to handle the rest of the. Jeff, would you like to handle the? Sorry, Jeff.
Okay.
Or I give it to Paul if you want.
I don't want to deprive Jeff of that privilege and honor.
Okay.
You got a haircut and everything for this.
Yeah, no, surprises are a good thing in life.
It's your Al Haig moment, Jeff. I'm in charge now.
All right. So go for it.
You have to, I think, move to.
You just have to ask for a motion to add to the agenda.
Okay, I ask for a motion to add
So moved.
the Green Skies installation plan to the agenda, please.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, it's on the agenda.
And we'll note for the record that Kathy and Aaron are both seated,
Yes.
And that I recused myself
and that you've recused yourself from that.
From the Green Skies
particular-
solar
from
installation.
that particular one. Yes.
Yeah.
And when we get any discussion on that, I will leave the room. Okay, so our agenda has been amended. Where does that go on the agenda?
We'll just put it after the Baldwin Road thing, or the Lunar Drive things.
Great, okay. Okay, so we will now move to our new business. So we have in front of us Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 referral for 41 Ford Road, Massaro Farm. And if the proponent would like to step forward, introduce yourself, and talk to us a bit about the proposed heavy work or heavy use area to prevent erosion.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Steve Munno. I'm here from Massaro Community Farm. My role is Executive Director and Farm Director there. And as you've seen me here in the past for this type of thing, this is a grant that we've applied to the Natural Resource Conservation Service, branch of the USDA, and they help with various soil and water conservation issues. So in this case, near our compost piles, we have some area that tends to get wet and has the potential for erosion. So we invited them out to look at the site, and they agreed that it is worthy of putting down some geotextile fabric with some gravel on top to prevent future erosion. So this is an area where we take our tractor and move back and forth to manage our compost piles. So it's essentially in a year, like we had 2 years ago where there was nonstop rain, that was soupy ground. And a year like last year where there was no rain, it was dry and hard. But the variabilities, particularly with the extreme rain events we have, make that area sometimes unusable. So as you see on the map, there's actually an access road that leads right up to that point. So it's essentially a little extension. It's an 80 by 32 foot area that allows us to move the tractor around and access those. We typically have about 5 compost piles to move those piles, aerate them, turn them so that we keep the temperature up and the material decomposes the way we would like. So this is simply a request to sort of extend that area off of our access road, geotextile, gravel, so that we can access that area without damaging or eroding anything, particularly in the wet seasons or wet periods of time. It does not ask for any funds from the town, but since the town is the owner, it went to the Board of Selectmen for approval for the 824. It's here now, and we'll go back to the Board of Selectmen for final approval, pending your approval.
Thank you so much, and definitely welcome any questions from members of the commission. I'll start with one. So these steps, including the approval from us and then back to the Board of Selectmen, those are all prerequisites to applying for this grant, correct?
The grant has been applied for. What it's come back with is, so in some cases we need there's a landowner approval of applying for the grant. In this case, because we work with the NRCS regularly, they are out observing the items or issues that we've pointed out. They plan the practice, and then before they would do any funding of it, so we need to show approval. So we've technically applied for it. They've kind of planned it, but they won't go ahead with any funding until it's
Fully
approved.
authorized.
So we have applied, and now we're at the next stage, pre-funding, where we need the approval to go ahead with it.
Any questions from commission members? Seeing none. So a motion, so I will move to, it's technically not an approval, but to,
You find it in
Grant.
conformance with the town
Yeah.
plan.
yes, I will move that the TBZ finds that this proposed improvements to Massaro Farm are consistent with our plan of conservation and development.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion amongst commission members? Other than this sounds like a nice thing to do. It's a nice thing to do.
It's a nice thing.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right.
Thank
Go
you very
forth.
much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
All righty. So next up on our agenda is the application from Lyubov Gitterman at 67 Pease Road for a special exception use of their house for an adult daycare facility. Is there anyone from?
This is a special exception, so it requires a public hearing, so I told them not to come until
Oh, okay.
we have a hearing scheduled.
So-
This is not within 500 feet of any other municipality, so it does not need to go to the Regional Planning Commission. But it does need a hearing, so you could schedule it for your regular meeting in April if you want.
Yeah, and so folks should have received the one-page letter from the applicant that looks like they would like to have adult programming during the day only for both their children and a few other members of the community of adults with autism. So it sounds like scheduling for our next regularly scheduled public hearing makes sense.
Yeah, I did want to make a point though, when just looking at the zoning regulations, I'm talking about like the state regulations, you know, when you're talking about like community residence for individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities, you know, that states, and I'm looking at the Connecticut General Statutes 8-3, that no zoning regulation shall treat a community residence that houses 8 or fewer persons with intellectual disabilities and necessary staff in a manner different from any single-family residence. So I'm just questioning
Why?
whether or not, why we would need to have a...
Because this is not just a group home. This is a actual adult daycare. So during the day, there would be people who do not live there that come and partake of classes and learning experiences, and then they would go home, versus a group home where you have people who specifically stay there all day, or they may go off to work. So we have a number of group homes in town for a variety of reasons, but this does not fall under that classification.
Right, it wouldn't, right, I don't think it is the group home because of the eight or less, but what I'm just suggesting, that, you know, since it's a, you know, there's a community residence, just looking at the definition, I would feel more comfortable if this was actually reviewed by maybe our attorney, because it's a protected class, and I think we just gotta proceed carefully on this, and I do think under the Connecticut State Statutes, you know, 8-3, that perhaps it is something where it doesn't necessarily require a special exception, that it should be considered, you know, in a manner, it can't be considered in a manner that would be different from a single-family residence.
She is being guided by someone who works for Marrakesh, so she's, that particular person is conversant with the state policies and whatnot, and she advised the owner of the property that they needed to get this permit. And then they will go to the state and get a permit from the state for an adult daycare. So
And-
they've been advised that they need to do
Right, and this is not a group home because the
This
only
is not a
people.
group
It's not a
home.
group home. No, it's not a group home. The 8 or less makes it,
I don't think it's the 8 or less.
No.
the
It's not
operative.
the
that
8 or
they're not
less,
living
it's
there.
It's
the
the residence.
use.
It's the word residence, yeah.
Yeah, there's none of the people who will be there during the day are residing in the home.
no, there's 3, they have, they're 3.
Their own family members.
Their own family members, so they have 3 children with developmental disabilities that will be living there, that are in need of support services, and then there's gonna be up to, you know, 4 other individuals. So I'm just saying that this would fall under, just because I'm familiar with this type of, you know, supportive housing, you don't, it should be like reviewed to see whether or not in fact you need to have a special
But it's
exception.
not housing. If it was
just a
housing, it wouldn't be
business.
coming
Yeah.
to you.
It's a business.
It's a
It's
school, it's a
But it's a
learning
business, that's the
facility.
bottom line.
And your regulations require that an adult daycare have a special exception. I will gladly check with town council.
Yeah.
But in the interim, I would appreciate if you would schedule a hearing, and failing something from town council, we can go from there.
Okay, I mean, I think that would be prudent just to double check, given, I think it is,
I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
But I still think we should schedule it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
For-
I would
for
ask you
April.
to schedule a hearing,
Right.
and then if for some reason it falls through that you don't need one, I'll let you know.
Do we need a motion and?
Yes, please.
I will move to schedule a public hearing on the
Second.
request, thank you, for 67 Pease Road. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Great, so we will have them join us at our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is April
7.
7th. Terrific. Okay, the third item on our agenda is a request from Stephen Mason for an amendment to our zoning regulations, which we all should have received via email. And this is a request, well, actually, is Stephen here?
No, again, because this is an amendment to your zoning regulations, it requires a public hearing, and it also requires that it goes off to the Council of Governments, because this would affect anywhere within an abutting town. So we just need to schedule it for hearing because of the time frame that we have to submit to the Council of Governments. Their next meeting where they would accept it would be their meeting in April, so we would need to schedule this for a public hearing in May.
But don't we have the option to deny the application if
You
it's not,
still have to have a public hearing.
even if it doesn't have merit?
It has to have a public hearing. And then you can act on it, but it has to go through the procedures. So the procedure is you receive it, you schedule it for public hearing, you have a public hearing, you get your comment back from the Council of Government, and then you act.
Did you send that to us in an email? Do we have that, his analysis?
I'm
That
not
came
sure,
through,
but
right?
I've given
Yeah.
it
Were
to
you-
you
Yeah, no, you
tonight.
So we.
No, it was an email
Okay.
as well, though it
I
was
think it
late
was in the
February.
initial, with the initial agenda.
Understood.
It
Okay,
was-
then I'm
came in
sorry.
February.
I'll just
So
read
it's
it.
basically asking you to rescind that which you adopted in December.
Yep, understood. Okay, thank you.
And because of our regulations, any member can petition.
Anyone in town can petition, both townspeople have an opportunity to petition, and then you also obviously have the opportunity to amend your own regulations.
I would ask that we ask our town's planning consultant to give us a review of that proposal and its impacts on
Certainly.
our interest in creating opportunity housing regulations that actually work for the development of housing. And I would actually encourage the applicant, to the extent that they have suggestions on how to improve our housing, which is part of the application, that they come with their own sort of
Okay.
demonstration through planning studies, best practices, other examples of successful opportunity housing zoning regulations.
Did they suggest actual language, or did they just ask for it to be removed and set back to what it was previously?
All they're asking you to is go back to what you had.
Understood, thank you.
But in terms of having a discussion on the merits of this, we have to wait for the public hearing, or is that something we could discuss
Yes,
now?
because the only thing you can, when you make a decision, you have to make it based on the material that's in the public hearing. So anything that you discussed now, you would have to rediscuss at the public hearing, or have entered into the record or whatever. Because your decision is to be based on the record of the public hearing.
So May.
So I move to schedule this for a public hearing in May at our regularly scheduled meeting.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so we will see it in May, and I would like our planning consultant to
I will,
give us a sense of the impact of going back to our previous zoning regulations.
Might be, I mean, we had, just in terms of entering
Yeah, so
into the record.
to enter, into the record,
his advising on the initial, I'm not sure, I mean, obviously, it's all gonna get relitigated, but having that, the report that he made, the Scruggs report from the original change entered into the record during the public hearing, I think would be useful.
yeah.
and I'm assuming we can't do that on our own. We would need
You can, once
could
you
we?
open the public hearing, you can incorporate things into the public hearing from other things.
Right. But our planning consulting would be able to
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
give a synopsis of the path from which we've traveled already, including those reports and previous examples.
And just so it's noted to everybody, that hearing would be on May 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's also Cinco de Mayo for the record.
Well, okay.
Is that it?
Early or start really late?
Alrighty. So items 4 and 5, do we need separate?
You can do them together. Again, there's no one here for 4 and 5 because they're bundled together. Both of them have a site plan, but both of them also require a special exception permit for excavation, grading removal, all that good stuff. The good news for you is that it's not adjacent to a residential neighborhood. It's at the toe of the slope for West Rock. This was approved previously in 2011, and then they never pursued doing anything with it. So it was reviewed by the commission's consulting engineer at that point. I can provide you with the comments that they submitted for the last one. So unless you want to send this back to them, nothing has changed, or so I've been told. It just seemed whatever. So this is topographically, West Rock Ridge is up here and it's down here, and it's within 500 feet of the New Haven line on West Rock Ridge. So
That's
it
what was wrong.
it needs to go to Strog.
Bummer.
So,
So I will make a motion to schedule this for a public hearing at our regularly scheduled May meeting in light of the fact that it needs to go to Scrog.
Second.
So moved and seconded. This is jointly for the Baldwin Development Corp's application for both 20 Lunar Drive and 23 Lunar Drive. Any further discussion other than we will receive from Chris the historic analysis from our engineering consultants as part of the record of this, I guess, resuscitated plan to develop this area?
Do you, sorry,
No, go ahead.
do you know what it was originally proposed? Just gonna be an office?
no, actually, I think it's gonna be storage because one of the partners in the business has a business here in town where he does landscaping and other kinds of work. So he was gonna have one of the buildings for his own business.
Gotcha.
And then, I guess, just develop the other one for whatever.
Any
So
further?
we have 2 additional commercial buildings in a commercial district.
Good, yeah, good.
Any further discussion? All in favor of scheduling that public hearing for our May regular meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? That is scheduled. And now,
Now you get to Hoppy Toad out of the room.
I will go through the Who would like to take control?
I think Jeff's doing a great job. I mean, really.
I accept that. Thank you, Paul, for your graciousness.
All
As
right,
always.
and please call me back when I'm needed.
And you gentlemen are
So
here
Christine,
for
is there
this.
someone here to present this? Is somebody, okay.
And you can take another chair so one of you doesn't have to stand. And if you want to sign in, there's a sign-in sheet and actually a pen.
So please just state your name and then sign your name in, and as you do that, I'm just gonna ask Chris, does this already go to the Board of Select?
It went to the Board of Selectmen, and because it's on town property, it's been referred to you under Connecticut General Statute 824, because it would be an improvement to a municipal property.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, please.
Ryan Linares, 127 Washington Ave, North Haven, Connecticut.
Dennis Hicks, 127 Washington Ave, North Haven.
So welcome, and why don't you tell us about this project? What are we looking at here?
So I guess I can start just a very quick overview of the actual project itself. We're looking at putting a 0.999 megawatt AC solar array on top of the closed and capped Woodbridge landfill. As you may or may not understand, once a landfill is closed, there's sort of limited uses for it. and putting a solar array on top is one of the better uses for it. And we are planning a ballasted system to sit just on top of the existing grass and capped landfill. There's I would not call the design set that you have received the finalized version. There's a level of due diligence that we have to complete once this process has been finalized. But what we typically do for landfills is we sit the posts and the panels on concrete blocks, which just float on top of the cap, so there's no piercing of the. I don't know if it's a mineral layer, like sometimes they put clay on it, or a fabric layer. That's all revealed in the documents that DEEP has. But either way, we engineer it in such a way to not have there be limited to no settling, to not cause any leachate issues, and we just ensure that the system is up and running. As far as the sort of other aspect of it, the paperwork aspect and business side, I'll turn it over to Ryan. But if you have any questions about the array itself, I can.
Once installed, how long does an array last?
About 20 years.
Okay.
Typically, and I'm sure Ryan probably has more details on this, typically at the end of the life, we will either come in and decommission the entire project, removing all fence lines, all concrete, everything, and just leaving it as it sits today, or we'll come in and re-energize the project. It will update technologies and go for another 20 years.
Understood. Ryan?
Yep. I'm Ryan Linares again, business development for Greens Guys. So the town of Woodbridge issued an RFP, I believe, in late 2023, soliciting solar developers to lease portions of real estate that the town owns. The landfill happened to be the probably the most important aspect of that portfolio, because the town or the state heavily incentivizes projects on land that you really can't do much else with. So this is, Greens Guys jumped at this opportunity, responded to the RFP, and was the successful bidder on that. So fast forward to now, basically between that time, we submitted to the state of Connecticut through the NRES program. And that's, in this situation, we are leasing the town property, and we're selling power back to United Illuminating at a fixed price for 20 years. The town not just receives a lease payment, but they also receive a piece of the revenue that's generated every single year. So there's two aspects of income coming in for the town on this piece of property. So Greens Guys was awarded that NRES solicitation in 2024. And since then, we've been working with the First Selectman on trying to come to terms on a lease agreement that your council and First Selectman, Mika, I lost his last name.
Mendoza.
Yep. That we could agree to, and we have been able to come to terms on that, and that's sort of why we're here at this point, to try to get the lease agreement across the finish line and move the project to, to Dennis's side, where they engineer and bring the project to the DEP for their review and approval as well.
How long is that lease?
That lease, it's a 20-year lease, and its purpose is to match the power contract that we have with UI, which is a 20-year power contract.
With respect to Greens Guys, do you have any of these developments anywhere else in the local area?
Yeah, so we have two under construction in West Haven. You could see them. You could see one of them off of I-9 or off 95, north or southbound. You were right on the top of it.
Behind the compost area.
Yeah, right before the New Haven line. Then we're about to start construction on the New Haven landfill, which is on 91. If you're driving northbound, you'll be able to see it. Yeah. And then projects that we've completed, we're on top of the Fairfield landfill, Meriden, East Haven, North Haven. I believe it's over 11 at this point. So
we've worked with, I think the number was
28 or 29 different municipalities in the state.
Yeah, so it's a very popular way to reutilize a landfill cap.
It seems very reasonable to me.
Yep.
Do any commission members have any questions or anything they want to ask our gentleman around?
Is there a sort of a policy or regulation strategic choice that was made? This is just my curiosity, for it to be 0.999 megawatts?
Yes. If you go at 1 megawatt or above, we would be going through the state setting council process, which we would still have to, I believe, go through this process for the 824 approval and the approval of the lease. However, after that, it would be unilaterally for the state.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commission members?
I'm just curious, what happens after 20 years with the panels? Are those recycled or?
So a lot of them are recycled. These panels are not. Let me just double check that they're the correct panels. I believe that they are. They're not on this. I believe that we are not using any panels anymore that would constitute hazardous waste. It's just glass, aluminum, and some photovoltaic specific compounds that are either safe to be put through traditional waste streams or specially recycled and used. They're not hazardous waste, they can just be totally removed, and that's why even if, say, a baseball were to come over and hit them, we have monitoring on it. We would come, take the panel off, replace it, and take the panel away. Nothing like that would be stored on site, but we could just handle that as normal waste. It's not going to cause a hazmat situation.
I was actually going to ask about that specifically. As you may know, we have very good
Yeah.
baseball in Woodbridge and Bethany. Would that kind of damage be covered by an insurance policy? Is the town liable for that?
Yeah, in this instance, the town would not be liable. It's a risk that Green Skies takes on. Just looking at the aerial images and just being on site, foul balls could definitely become a problem, and it's something we actually price into the deal, assuming it probably will happen maybe once or twice a year. We do have carport structures and landfill projects near recreational parks, and we've experienced this from every now and then. And although the warranties do not cover it that we have with the panels, insurance does in some cases pick it up.
And it's hold harmless for the town, right?
Yes.
The town has no liability.
Yep, that's correct.
So Chris, is there any public comment when there's an
No.
824? There's no public
This is
comment.
just you
Just us talking about
determining
it.
that it is or isn't in compliance with your town plan.
Very good. Any further questions from any commission members this evening?
I just had a quick question. We do have another solar farm in town, and they supposedly were gonna be using sheep underneath to mow. How do you keep it, how do you keep it?
So we, it's a little different for landfills. When we have just a normal ground mount situation where we have a farm field or something, then we can look at agrivoltaics for. It's a bit different on a landfill. What we'll use, or at least what we normally use, is a pollinator-friendly seed mix. Sort of these cold season grasses, just to keep the soil from eroding away. And we typically only mow that during the growing season, maybe once a month. So it's probably going to be maybe 4 or 5 times a year. Otherwise, we'll just let it grow, because as long as it's below the panels, it doesn't matter, and pollinators can come and fly in, get nectar, and fly out. And it's deep has not had an issue with this grass. We just come in, we handle all the mowing. It's just knocked down, and there should be no issues. And it should be all in compliance of all the runoff, as well as deep solid waste.
So I'm going to make a motion that the commission approve and say this project is consistent with our plan of conservation and development, makes sense for the town. It seems like a good project for me, so I'm going to make a motion that we approve it and send it back to the Board of Selectmen. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I have to ask for discussion first.
Any other
I
discussion?
knew it. Thank you, Paul. Any further discussion? No. Okay. Thank you, Paul. No. All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Ask for
Thank you.
opposed.
Yeah.
as proposed.
You have to ask for any opposed.
Oh, any opposed? Well, everybody said yes.
Everybody said yes.
All
I
right,
think
Chris,
we're good.
Everyone
Jeff,
said yes.
this is it.
You get to
We're
do it
retiring
next
you.
time.
Everyone said yes.
You're
Yeah,
running this
you're
session.
right,
You
you're
don't have
right,
to take
Jeff.
it from me.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
somebody
I-
needs to tell
The cheap
Rob,
seats? Yes, he does.
somebody needs to tell Rob he can come back in.
Yeah,
So we shouldn't adjourn
no,
before we
I
bring
had no
Rob back?
objection.
No, you
I had
can't
no-
adjourn
It was
it.
unanimous.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sure, you will.
Thank you all.
It was unanimous.
Could you guys, I'm sorry, could you take it out in the hallway?
Yeah. Thanks, folks. Oh, right, I think, excuse me.
Now you're on to election.
Oh, that's right. So maybe you should walk us through this, Chris, because we, with Yoni's resignation, he was vice chair.
Right, but since this was a new cycle that came in where you had appointments that were made because of the change in elections, now your elections occur in January rather than in July. So this is the time for your new elections. So there you go.
So I don't even remember how we've done this.
Somebody has to nominate a chair, and then you need a vice chair and a secretary. Hi, Paul.
So I nominate the chair, Sir Rob.
Second. Do you want a second on it, or just need nomination from the floor?
He's in charge.
Am I in charge?
You're in charge, yes.
So nomination and second for me to continue to be chair.
Yes.
Okay. Any
Discussion?
discussion?
You're doing a great job, Rob. I'm going to support your.
What's your platform?
nomination.
I have no platform.
No discussion until we've got to move second and first. Okay,
No, he moved and seconded.
that's true, so you can discuss.
Yeah, we are
Do
discussing.
you have a platform?
I don't think I do.
No, okay.
Will you provide food on Cinco de Mayo?
No.
Can you give people 3 minutes and 30 seconds instead of 3
No.
minutes?
No,
How about 2 minutes and 30 seconds?
No, it is, we're going to continue to have 3 minutes.
All right. Fine.
All right.
All right.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, so
I nominate Jeff to be vice chair.
and I second.
Second.
Any discussion? Jeff, do you want to be vice chair?
Sure.
They choose to fill.
Anyone else interested in the position?
But it has to be a full member.
it should be a full member.
Yeah, so we can. So I'm sorry for our alternates. Okay, Jeff, I think you'd be great.
Thank you.
So all in favor of Jeff as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? And I next up, I nominate Paul Schatz to be secretary again.
I've done it before.
I thought you are. You
I
are.
think I am the secretary right
You are
now.
the secretary right now.
Every month I thank God we have Chris.
So moved and seconded, Paul Schatz as secretary. Any discussion? I think you're doing a great job, Paul.
Trying hard.
You can feel free to bring in as secretary the
I
snacks
would
for
for Cinco de Mayo, for sure. I'll have to remember that.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? So there you have our slate of officers.
And so I'll just notice for the next regular meeting, which will be in April, Yanni had also been, I think he was serving, who was serving on West Rock Ridge? Ben, did
I
you
am
go?
now,
Okay, so
yeah.
we're good on that,
Okay.
because there is a meeting coming up, so, okay.
All right.
So,
So now we can move to our work session. We don't have anything on Luciani Street, but Chris, let's talk about the plan of conservation development. And I know you emailed us about the potential for a special meeting a week from today on March 10th.
Yeah, let me just bounce back to 110 real quick. I did give you a letter that was submitted today from Rosalie Rowland that had some pictures attached, and there's another letter that was just submitted this evening that
I'll put it over here.
yeah, I'll scan it and send it out to you. I did talk to Mr. Owaskowitz today, And he is moving ahead. His intent is to finish as soon as he can. And then he'll be on to the work under his building permit. He has, they had started on President's Day when the town hall wasn't open, and so we heard about it the next day. And I did email him and whatnot, so I went over the days that he can't work, the times that he has to work, and so on and so forth. So he's aware of that. He has been sweeping the road to the best of my knowledge, and he has put up silt fence, but he's got vehicles going in and out, so it's a tight site, so it's hard to, whatever, but
But
That's where we're there.
material is moving out of the site.
material is moving out,
When does that,
May 1st.
because that's the only leverage we have, right?
Well, there's
To
no
keep
leverage,
moving
he's
him
working, you know, he's under a permit. So that's that. Plan of Conservation and Development. So I emailed you about having a special meeting next Monday night. Rob Collins would like to come and go over the goals and strategies that they've come up with, and then he'll go over it with you, and then if you would have a week to review it and get back any comments, and then depending on what kind of comments come back, there might be the need for another little work session on it, but if everybody's basically okay with what's there, then they'll go ahead and work on doing or scheduling the next public meeting, where the public would be invited, and whatnot. They have completed all their roundtable discussions. There was some additional comments that were asked for at those meetings, and those have been retrieved in. So it's working. At this stage of the game, most likely they're gonna be sending a thing up to the state, just letting OPM know that we're working on it. It may not be actually finalized and adopted before the May 15th date, but they will let that know because we're running tight to when that has, and that 65-day time period that we have to get it to the Board of Selectmen for comment and also the Council of Governments for comment.
But they'll be able to demonstrate that we've been
Yeah, but they can,
diligently
and
working.
he said there's
Yeah.
normally no issue because you're so close to, in a sense, the end, so.
People's availability next week, it was 6.
It was Monday night. Tuesday night he had a meeting, so Tuesday wasn't available. There is no meeting in here on Monday because Zoning Board of Appeals normally would be meeting then, and their meeting was canceled. So this room is available.
And what time?
I had suggested 6:30. He said whatever is convenient for you. You've liked 6:30, so it's up to you.
I can only stay 45 minutes. I
Can you do
believe
6 and stay on?
I can do 6, but
I can do
don't-
6 too.
I'm not available.
Can you call us up on your cell phone, depending on where you might be at the time?
For you, Jeff, we can negotiate that.
Which meeting?
Could we get like 3 or 4 people from 6 to 7 or 6 to 7?
I could do 6.
No,
You can, Kathy. You can come.
Yeah, 6:30 doesn't matter.
So this is our consultants who are helping us through the Plan of Conservation and Development, want to give us, so they're going to share ahead of time, or at that meeting, are they going to share documents?
I thought he was going to share at the meeting itself because he's kind of working still on stuff this week.
Okay. So for those who can't make it, we can get you that
Yeah.
day those documents and then ask
then
that
we
you
should-
provide feedback within a week or so of
Yeah.
turnaround.
And it will be recorded.
So are we in session or?
We have
in
to
a-
form-
we
It's
Yeah,
a
have to be
public
in session,
meeting,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be recorded. So for those that can't attend, you'd be able to watch the presentation and.
But do we need a quorum?
Yeah.
We're-
We're not voting, though.
Well, you're not voting, so I mean, you can still have him do a presentation, so it's recorded. As long as you don't take a
As-
vote, you're fine.
I will go. I will go in
1,
person. I can
2,
come.
3.
And
Because you're
Andrew
likely no.
might be able to make
Andrew
it.
might be.
I'll check with him.
Let me just double check that's, yeah, 6 should work better for me if that's okay
Yeah.
with folks.
Yeah. To get in.
Because I don't
Sure.
think he's anticipating, more than an hour would be a long time period, I
So
think.
6 to 7, Monday the 10th.
Okay.
I was advised, though, if we did not have a quorum, that we could not have a meeting, so I was told that about the housing committee, so I'm just wanted to
This
bring
is an
that up.
informational thing. I will double check
Yeah, I don't
with
know,
town
maybe if
council.
it's, but if it's public, I don't know, I'm just bringing
It's
that up.
not where you're taking action.
Right, there's no votes.
There's no vote.
I was, can I, hi. I was, I was told that if there's a quorum, because we've had a few meetings where, they were going to meet and then at the last minute there's no quorum and they can't. It's, even if there's,
If you're making a decision,
no, even if there's no, I was told this by many people, even if there's no.
I will verify it with town council.
That's.
We have a town plan that has to move forward.
Okay, yeah, okay, I was just told.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I agree, I totally agree, I think, but.
I will check with
Yeah.
council.
We'll check and see what's allowed.
And I will also check with Andy, because if Andy can be here, then we don't have an issue, because we have 4.
Because we need 4.
We need 4.
Okay. And if Andrew can't do it at 6, but 6:30 works,
Yeah.
I'll be flexible.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
hope that they can get their stuff done in 45 minutes instead of an hour.
And I'll see if he can at least get it to me earlier in the day on Monday, so you'll have a running start on it.
Okay. So we are aiming for that special meeting, hopefully at 6, which I'm editing right now. But you just need a few days to notice it. to the
Right, I
public.
have to notice it within 24 hours. As a backup for some reason, since he can't do Tuesday, is anybody available on Wednesday?
So Wednesday the 12th, I am not.
Yeah, I would be.
Possibly, let's try to make it Monday.
Yeah, I'm just trying
I
to.
know you are, I know, yes.
Okay, all right, I'll see what I can do.
If I don't think this room would be available, right, is that the Board of Selectmen's meeting?
There's other places to meet.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Then keep an eye on your emails for updates on the scheduling of that update meeting with our consultants on the plan of conservation and development. Andrew Skoldit's not here for our update on Scrog, so we'll pass on that. Kathy, any brief updates on the housing committee?
Yeah, I did want to highlight that our main activity is providing a midpoint update on our affordable housing plan. There has been an update on Woodbridge's existing conditions that was prepared by our town consultants, and as well, we're going to be receiving information from SLR, from the POCD, so that's going to be able to update much of the demographics. We're also aligning some recommendations with a bipartisan report that was prepared by the Commissions of Connecticut's Future in Development, and that commission had reviewed all the town's affordable housing plans that were prepared and provided areas where these plans could be improved and really making them more action-oriented. So within our update with the plan, we're going to be creating a framework where we're going to be, one, determining benchmarks in terms of how many units we would be producing, give it, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, and forward years, and then identifying where those units could be potentially built. And then, the third step would be determining what zoning amendments may need to be made in order to accommodate that type of build-out. And we're also inviting a representative from SCROG, hopefully for our next meeting. And they're going to be advising how we can align our affordable housing plan with the SCROG's regional housing strategy, since zoning now has to be done in the regional context. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on that.
Any questions for Kathy? No? Thank you, Kathy. And Chris, any reports from our,
No,
with your
I'm
zoning
I'm
enforcement
done.
officer hat on?
we're good.
We're good? Good. Correspondence received. You've provided us the correspondence on the Luciani Street, and you'll get us the one other that just came in today. But feel free to email that to us.
And then I did give you the newsletter,
Oh, thank you. So somewhere in our.
I think. Did I give you that?
I didn't see that.
Actually, I don't
Oh,
see it.
well.
There was
then-
one over here.
Oh, then I
That was
didn't
the
get
that was
to,
it.
I got distracted and I will give it to you before you leave.
Okay, or next time.
And then what else was I gonna tell you? Oh, and then I have signed up Ben and Kathy for the Connecticut Bar Association thing, so there's still time if somebody else wants to. It's a Zoom, so,
And that's not the thing of the AquaTurf, which you sent.
no, this is, that's from the Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Agencies,
What was the date of this? What was the date of the Zoom?
22nd, I think.
the 22nd. And that would cover all of your training that's required, and you do have to get 4 hours of training in this year.
That's March 20, this month? March
That's
22nd?
this month,
Okay.
yep. But you get to do it from home, so,
Yeah, I'm gonna look
It's a
into that
Saturday.
as well.
Zoom.
so let me know.
When is it during the day, like on a Saturday
It's a
or
Zoom.
something?
It's on Saturday, so
Saturday,
what they'll
Saturday,
do is they'll send you a link to it, and then
Can
they'll
you
also
res-
send you a book.
Can you resend a reminder to folks?
Sure.
Yeah, because I should probably go to that. We have to have 4 hours this year, right?
You have to have 4, yep.
I don't think I got a copy of the letter requesting that we rescind the zoning regulation change. Was that distributed to everybody or just Rob?
I just did it tonight.
Okay,
I
okay.
thought it was in an email.
It was in an email,
Yeah.
but I also gave out copies tonight.
Like February,
Yeah.
late February
Okay.
email. But you should now have a copy, I think, in your file.
Yeah, you had a copy tonight.
Hey, there was also, so any other business in front of us before we get to minutes? And as part of my platform is that I will try my best on a normal meeting to get us out by 7:30, which we are 3 minutes away from.
Don't jinx it.
Special, we have approval of the minutes for the special meeting of December 16th, 2024. I will make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any edits, comments, discussions on those? That was the brief special meeting where we also were hearing a report from SLR. Any edits? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Oh, abstaining. I wasn't here.
Then we have I will make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of January 6th, 2025. Moved and second. Any edits, comments, changes on those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Yeah, you've been